everyone, welcome to another episode of Millennium Charter High School Phoenix News. I'm your host, Brandon Payson. Starting off today, Julia Mahano will be introducing a piece about the Never Again movement.
A story of red flags being ignored surfaced on February 14, 2018. The suspect, 19, Nicholas Cruz, arrived in an Uber at 2:19 p.m. at Stoneman Douglas High School. He carried a duffel bag, which in it he had an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. Upon entering the school grounds, he shot up anybody he saw and then proceeded to walk into the hallways, shooting into 5 classrooms, killing 17 students and leaving 14 severely wounded. The Parkland shooting was all over the news, and not only was it a shock to students of Stoneman Douglas High School, but to America as a whole. It set off feelings of helplessness nationwide to millions. Moments after the news was released, a whirlwind was started around the question, how did the suspect's mental issues go under the radar for long, and how was this allowed to happen? These questions generated a youth movement led by students hungry for a change in the government's control policies. It's been called the Never Again movement. Their purpose is to end school shootings. They'd like to see government, lawmakers, and gun advocates crack down on gun control policies, specifically background checks on gun buyers. The members of this movement want to focus on the victims and their families more by targeting the fault in the political system in order to start creating changes to stop these incidents from happening. Since the Sandy Hook massacre in late 2012, there have been approximately 1,607 mass school shootings. In 2018 alone, we've had 18. Congress has seemed to ignore the spike of school shootings, and after Parkland, various amount of major companies cut ties with the NRA. Companies like Delta and MetLife announced on Twitter that they were to no longer take a part of supporting the NRA, to which the NRA responded with, "The law-abiding members of the NRA had nothing at all to do with the failure of the school system, the failure of America's mental health system, or the failure of National Instant Check system, or the cruel failures of both federal and local law enforcement." Dick's Sporting Goods has also made claims banning the sale of all assault-style weapons and limiting gun purchases to adults over 21. As of February 28th, a new bill was introduced on improving gun control laws. In it, we see the minimum age of 18 go up to 21 years old, which would have made it illegal for Nicholas Cruz to purchase the gun that he used in the shooting. Although the bill hasn't been signed by Governor Rick Scott, the student-led movement that inspired the making of this bill will continue to fight for the rights they feel we deserve. On March 14, students walked out nationwide to honor the 17 victims of the Parkland shooting. Students marched in Washington, D.C. to get the federal government's attention. At the moment, it appears that this student-led movement is helping to make a change in this generation.
Coming up next, the Phoenix News crew went out to Monterey Bay to cover the Next Generation Jazz Festival.
Hi, this is Julia Mahano reporting live from the Next Generation Jazz Festival at the Monterey Conference Center in Monterey. Here, the top college, high school, and middle school bands are competing for prizes and bragging rights. We talked with some of the competitors to find out what it takes to compete with the best of the best. Let's take a look.
We put a lot of hard work into what we do. It was great to be able to represent this year's candidates and be able to share with everyone. So very excited.
It felt fantastic to be called. For some of the members in the group, it was a little unexpected, so we were even more overjoyed when we found out that we were, graced with the offer, but yeah.
I don't know, it was a really good feeling.
This is my second time here. I think the festival is very great because it's a good breeding ground for the new up-and-coming cats, and everyone can kind of see what the competition level is. And so it's a good, healthy competition. That's the best thing about it.
This is my, I believe, 9th time, and attending the wonderful Monterey Next Generation Jazz Festival, and it's kind of the pinnacle of jazz education worldwide. I've always said that. It's kind of the Rolls Royce of the jazz festivals, and it's an absolute honor and a blessing to be here all these years, because we know how difficult it is with the blind audition process, and it's absolutely fair, and to be invited back this many times is an honor. Last night our honors trio was fortunate enough to win first in the college combo division, competing against some of the finest groups: Berkeley, University of Miami, Cal State Northridge, Cal State Sacramento, and I think the New School from New York. It's absolute. It's just fantastic. But I've told some other people, we're glad that we won. But in this festival, everybody's a winner. It's like, you wake up. Do you like Picasso? Do you like Dali today? Do you like Rembrandt? I mean, everything's at that level. So we're very lucky that we did. But every one of the groups are just so fantastic here every year.
It's really just a community of everyone coming to want share their art with each other, and just hear each other play and see what's happening around the country at different universities. And I also think it's great that we have so many older students here to perform for the high schoolers and middle schoolers, because I think they all have a lot to learn from the players in their own divisions too.
Today we competed in the high school vocal jazz ensemble category, and we were able to take first place for the first time in our school's history.
How long did it take you guys to prepare for this event?
I would say from the beginning of the school year, we always prepare for the biggest festivals, which is Next Generation Monterey Festival.
What did it feel like when your band was announced?
Oh man, it was incredible. We've won second place a few times, but actually taking it and winning first place and knowing that we get to come back as seniors to come back and compete in the actual Monterey Festival is going to be awesome.
More than 150 performances were held this weekend, making for 3 days of non-stop music. For the performers, the prizes were great, but the honor wasn't being selected to play. Reporting live from the Monterey Conference Center, this is Julia Mohano signing out.
Next up, Alex Heredia will be covering Phoenix Sports News.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Sports News. Today we'll be talking about today's latest sports news. To start off with basketball in the NBA, the Houston Rockets were on a 17-0 run and are looking vicious in the West until the Toronto Raptors came in and took their streak. James Harden led the Rockets by dropping 40 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, while on the Raptors side, Kyle Lowry led the Raptors with 30 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. It was a close game. I believe the Raptors won by 2. The Houston, like I said, was coming in vicious, being the #1 team in the West, and playing on Toronto wasn't easy. I mean, Drake said it before the game, the streak ended that night, and look what happened. Moving on, more news about the NBA. NBA draft prospects with one last chance in the NCAA conference tournaments. So lately, this past week, there's been a lot of college tournaments that have been deciding their spot in March Madness. In the NCAA, basically March Madness, the tournament. And one of those big prospects was Michael Porter Jr. from Missouri. He got injured last November, and I can't relate to what the pain he was going through, but I know he was going through a lot of pain back then, and I know a lot of things were going through his mind. Is his career over? Am I gonna make it? But I guess he has one last chance, and this has to prove himself. Now we're going overseas with basketball. LaMelo Ball isn't the only 16-year-old NBA prospect playing overseas. His other very opponent in France, Killian Hayes, he's an American-born from Lakeland, Florida. He's a 16-year-old playing professional basketball in France. He's been named Player of the Month, Player of the Year. He's made the Jordan team over there in France, and yeah, it looks like LaMelo is he has more competition now. Moving on to the NFL, the NBA Combine just happened, and there were a lot of top performers that looked ready for the NFL. In the 40-yard dash, LSU's cornerback Dante Jackson ran his sprint with the 4.32. Bench press, Stanford DT Harrison Phillips with 42 reps. Vertical jump, Terrell Edmonds, safety from Virginia Tech with a 41.5. With the broad jump, cornerback Denzel Ward from Ohio State with 11 feet and 4 inches. Three-cone drill, Jordan Thomas from Oklahoma, 6.28. With the 20-yard shuttle, cornerback Grant Haley from Penn State with the 3.94. And the 6-yard shuttle, Avante Maddox from Pittsburgh with the 10.72. So the NFL Combine was a very good showcase for these and for college players to prove themselves and show they got to make it to the NFL. Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma, he went through a tough time at the end of the season where he couldn't play the championship game to his attitude the game before and how he was talking to the team. But his performance was good, and we'll see what happens. Richard Sherman has recently signed a 3-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm very happy that this deal happened. I think I saw it coming once I saw that the Seahawks released him. Richard Sherman said that why he left, it was just the fact that they weren't treating him well. They felt his history was done there, and it was time to move on. Richard Sherman, 3 years ago, he took the NFC Championship away from the 49ers, and I remember that game. I got really mad at him. But now I just hope that he brings us something to the 49ers because they're looking pretty good right now. Juju Smith-Schuster, cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, tries to recruit LeBron James for the NFL. This has been going on for around the past week. Juju has been tweeting, sending LeBron James videos, making a video of him in the Madden 18, and he's just trying to get him for the Steelers. And because if he brings him to the Steelers and wins the Super Bowl, he'll be considered the best athlete of all time. I mean, LeBron James is good. He's a big athlete. He's everything, but I feel he's not for the NFL. He's not made for the NFL. He's so used to playing not as aggressive NFL because I believe he wouldn't be able to handle a hit that hard in the NFL because his body's not used to it, and he's old already. He's not that old, but he's bold. He's old enough to feel the pain when he gets hit. Now moving on to boxing. Earlier this week, Mexico's boxing star Saul El Canelo Alvarez has been tested positive for banned drug clenbuterol and ahead of his big fight versus Gennady Golovkin. I believe El Saul Canelo Alvarez would do nothing like this. This was most likely to make contamination. This is the first time that this happened to any athlete in Mexico. This happened to the soccer team a couple years ago, the Mexican soccer team, a couple years ago before a game, I believe, and the players just couldn't play due to just what they had in their system. The meat contamination in Mexico, this is very common over there, just how they put on the animals and how it's transferred to the person when he eats it. So in this case, Saul Canelo Alvarez is just trying to get his diet ready for the game. He's just trying to get there, and just happens, but nothing's gonna happen. The fight's gonna go on. I'm gonna be really excited for this fight, part 2. The first fight was a really good one. Fight number 2 is going to be really good because these opponents really know each other well now. They know what their ups and downs are. They know how to get each other. And both the opponents, they're going to be more careful with what their movements are, knowing that Saul Canelo Alvarez did not fight how he fought his past fight. Because if he would have fought like he would have most likely gotten knocked out because of Triple G's speed. But I believe the next fight is going to be a good fight. And I believe there's going to be more fights to this because they're the only stars in boxing at the moment. They're going to be like the Marquez Pacquiao fights where they went up to 4, and there's just nobody in the boxing world right now that can bring this type of money to the fights. Moving on to soccer. The Champions' second leg started last week, and it was pretty good. Tuesday night, Liverpool and Porto tied 0-0, but Porto fought short in a 5-0 aggregate. I was really hoping Porto would win. I was rooting for them because they have some Mexican players in there, and I believe they could make a difference in the game, but they come up short, and we'll see what happens next year. PSG versus Real Madrid, the game of the week. Everybody was looking forward to this game, especially with Neymar's injury. That bummed down a lot. And Mbappe was off, but he came in the last minute and started playing. I believe Neymar's made an excuse not to play this game. He had to play this big game no matter what. If he would have gotten injured even more, well, he would have done it falling down, and he would have fought for this game because the team really needed him. I believe PSG would have had a chance, but they didn't have the proper players. They didn't have. It looked when the game started, PSG did not look like they wanted. They weren't high pressuring. They weren't trying to score. They were more holding back and seeing what Real Madrid was trying to do. They wanted Real Madrid to have control of the game, and that's exactly what Real Madrid did. Real Madrid was like, okay, we will have calm. We'll play with calmness. We're up in the aggregate. The final score was 2-1, 5-2 in aggregate. Cavani scored in the 71st minute, Ronaldo in the 51st, and Casemiro in the 80th. I really like how Real Madrid tactically got prepared for this game. And the past game, both of the wings for PSG were wide open. Real Madrid was leaving them wide open. And what I liked about Zidane the most was that he changed his formation. He started playing with the 4-4-2, and he took out the wingers. And PSG were tight on spaces and on the wings. That way they wouldn't get that much crosses in like happened in the last game. And while on the other side, Real Madrid, same Real Madrid as always, holding back and counterattacking. That's exactly what they wanted. But Real Madrid was pushing, just making PSG tired until they got those 2 goals, and PSG came out short. Now, Neymar's situation, back to Neymar's situation, everybody was saying that could this be the end for the Real Madrid-Neymar deal? I believe no. It's just a little ankle twist. He'll be fine, and he'll be ready for the World Cup, I believe. Wednesday night, Manchester City loses the second leg 2-1, but it's not enough for Basel to advance. Manchester City won in aggregate 5-2. Tottenham's Champions League dreams come to an end after losing 2-1 in the second leg at Wembley. This was another good game of the week. Both teams, I really loved how they played. Both teams were tactically doing good. They shut each other down. They just came out short, but I believe their first job could have done better. They didn't call 2 penalties on the center back for Juventus, Chiellini. It was 2 clear handballs that the referee did not see. He slid, the ball hit his hand. It's just calls that the referee has to call. You have 2 referees wide open, and I don't know how you can't see them. Either way, there was another penalty that wasn't called on Juventus, but either way, those 2 penalties could have made a big difference in the game. Tottenham was really pushing it towards the end, really pushing it. They were giving it their all. Harry Kane almost scored, but it hit the post. It's just stuff that happens in soccer. Even though you fight to the end, sometimes you just don't win. And PSG Juventus won 4-3 in aggregate, and they advanced to the next round of the Champions League. Now the MLS kicked off this past weekend, and the headline of the weekend was how LAFC started. The new team from Los Angeles, they did a really good job against Seattle. For their first professional game, they did not do that bad because just how they have to get used to the environment. But these players have already played it or another teams before. It's not like if they've never played a professional game in their life. It was just, I wanted to see how the chemistry reacted between Vela and the Costa Rican striker. I just wanted to see how everything came through. But they won 1-0, and that's it. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time.
Now on to Gossip XO with Sarah Gonzalez and Manuel Morales.
Hi, welcome my little baddies to another juicy episode on Gossip XO on Phoenix News. My name is Sarah, and here with me is Manuel Morales, my best friend, my boo, my ride or die. So let's get started.
All right, let's get started. So in recent news, Prince Harry and famous actress Meghan Markle have announced their engagement on November 27th of last year. The whole world, including myself, have been really anticipating this wedding because it's the royal wedding. If you guys don't know who Prince Harry is, he comes from the family of the really famous family in England. So the couple met in London of July in 2016 of that year, and they kind of confirmed their relationship in November of that year. And they have been sharing really cute photos together, and they kind of went public with it in November. So that kind of was the planning process of them becoming married, because they got engaged in November 2017 and they met in July of 2016. So it's kind of a big gap to kind of get to know each other and just be together. So that's kind of it. So Meghan Markle is an American actress, and she's also a humanitarian. She's set to become a part of the royal family upon marrying Prince Harry in May of 2018 of this year, so not that far along. So what do you feel about the marriage right now? How do you feel about
I find it like interesting. Like, what kind of shows does she play in?
She's a known actress, but she's not really popular like other actresses like Scarlett Johansson. She stars in the show Suits. That's pretty much it from where like I've known her.
Do you know what the show's about?
I don't really watch it, but it's kind of like about like two lawyers who are like brothers and they just like kind of compete. That's pretty much it. And she just plays like the main women protagonist in the show. So,
wow.
Yeah. So the couple will tie the knot on May 19th of this year, and they have finally decided to have their like wedding ceremony in the Kingston Palace. They confirmed that on December 15th of last year via Twitter. They also decided to get engaged on the St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle in England for the wedding. It holds a really big significance for Harry because he was baptized in that church, and most of his family do that little like community services and stuff like that at that church, so it's kind of like a big significance for him and his family. And we also did learn that Harry's brother, Prince William, is going to be his best man of the wedding.
Really?
We're not really sure about Meghan yet, but we do know that.
Oh, that's cute.
I think it's cute how you're going to have your brother be the best man. Like, it's like a dream come true.
That's like a true like best friend goal right there.
So Harry's mom was Princess Diana. She was like a really big influential person in 1997 at the time during England, and she died when he was 12. And I think the really special thing about that is he proposed with the ring that had the same diamonds and like kind of like structure as his mom's ring. So I feel like he really put like his sentimental like value and heart into that ring that he proposed to her in. So it's really cute. And we also did learn that she might wear the crown that belonged to his mom. So I think that's really cute.
That's
like
super cute.
kind of had me tearing up a little bit. So yeah, it's really cute. So you excited for the wedding?
Is it gonna be like broadcasted live or do you know?
I suspect that it will, but I'm not sure because you know it's like they're like the Kardashians
of like England.
Of England, like they're
That's cute.
they're it, and it's crazy. Like a lot of famous names are gonna be like Serena Williams, and a bunch of other famous people that are really close to the family. So hope to see what's up with that and all that. We also did learn that the Spice Girls, the infamous band, they're gonna be getting back together this year for a tour, but they're also gonna be like debuting their new look and their new like things at the royal wedding. So they're gonna be a main part of the show. I think it's pretty interesting.
Are they gonna be playing like new music or like just like
That's what
music?
we don't know yet. From what I do know, they're just gonna perform as one of the main entertainers of the wedding.
Like the band of the night?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
but
that's pretty
I don't know if they're gonna be like performing any music or possibly releasing new music for their like tour. So that's also something I'm trying to keep an eye on. So, yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but Chloe is actually pregnant right now, and she only has about a month or two left of her entire pregnancy left, and she's actually having a baby girl. Do you know if they had her baby shower yet?
So that's the thing. We do know that she's pregnant with a girl. I feel like they had her baby shower like low key, but I'm not sure because they've been traveling a lot recently. Like they were just in Tokyo, Japan last week. So
did she get to go with them, even though she's pregnant?
There's always that like kind of like scary vibe of like, what if like something happens when she's like in the airplane while pregnant? But no, she did come safely, so she's.
Are Tristan Thompson and her dating? I mean, are they engaged?
They're just like boyfriend and girlfriend right now. They haven't really made anything official yet. But I mean, probably when the baby comes out, they might get married or something like that.
I feel like he might like propose to her in like a really big way. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna propose to one of the Kardashians, you have to do it like in this like really, really big way for like the whole world to know.
Because the Kardashians are all about like the attention. They just want everything
like
on
the
themselves.
Little like attention hogs. But,
So
like, I don't know.
yeah, that's kind of like.
But I feel
maybe they'll propose.
Because I like the way that Kanye asked Kim, because it was like in front of like a giant stadium.
Yeah.
Like that was, I feel like he's gonna try and like, I feel like every person that tries to like ask one of them for like their hand in marriage, like every person has to go like a step higher than the last.
Above, yeah, because it's kind of like competition between all the girls, and like there are rumors going around that the couple are like having like problems and having little cold feet, so we don't really know about more of that.
Actually, I read in a magazine saying, I don't know if it's true or not because it's like from a magazine.
Yeah.
I forgot which magazine it was, but I saw that apparently that they're having problems because he's acting the same way that her ex was acting, going to bars, staying there late, cheating on her, and that she's just super happy that her baby, she's going to be able to be a full-time mom. and she's just gonna spend her this would be her first baby being a mom by herself, raising it on her own. But I mean, I don't know. But then on her Snapchats, she posts a lot of things about Tristan and how happy they are together. So I don't really know.
That's kind of iffy because if you're gonna be with someone who is constantly causing problems and it's kind of not being supportive for you, and especially when you're having a baby together, that doesn't mix. That's kind of mixing dairy and non-dairy products together. It's kind of it's a really bad outcome.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of the Kardashian clan, Kylie Jenner actually just came out with a new product, not a product, but a makeup line for her daughter Stormy that was just born roughly about a month ago.
Yeah.
And the makeup line name is I've Storm, and it's really cute. I like the colors that she did for it. It's my favorite palette that she did for it was the blue and yellow one.
Yeah. So she did come out with a bunch of different types of palettes and highlighters and stuff like that. She has Calm Before the Storm. That's one of her eyeshadow palettes, and she also has
I don't really like that
Eye of
one.
the Storm. Eye of the Storm is the more popular one because it has more of yellow and really dark shades for people. So I feel they kind of wanted to just go with a look, and it's really cute because she has the name on the front of the cover and it has little lightning bolts Storm. So it's kind of a really cute resemblance to her daughter. But I mean, I kind of expected it to be a little more pinker because her daughter is she made her whole theme for her nursery and her just butterflies, and I thought it'd be really cute if she incorporated those butterflies into that. But I mean, we can't always get what we want, so yeah.
Speaking of Stormy, somebody from our school actually has a conspiracy theory about the whole Stormy thing, and we're probably gonna have him come in next week and have a little interview about his little conspiracy theory about it. So yeah, go ahead and stay tuned, stay you, and be beautiful.
Tune in next week for more juicy gossip.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Millennium Charter High School Phoenix News. I'm your host, Brandon Paysant, signing out.